Hey everybody. I wanted to give you some help on the four forms of a function, how to get the other three if you're given one, and especially just to give you a good example of how y equals mx plus b can unlock a pattern that you otherwise could not have figured out on your own, which happens all the time in real life. So I have a graph here, and I'm just going to try to get the other three forms. And I'll talk out loud so you can kind of hear my thought process. And hopefully that will help you with your own work in getting the four forms. So I have a graph here. And I tried to make it somewhat easy. I know that we're not all together, but hopefully you can see I've drawn four dots here so that you know it goes through those 4 points. So right away, I'm like, you know what? I can get a table from that. So let me go to the table first. So I have x, can you see that there? If I go x, y. So can you tell this point right here, this point right here is, let's see, over -3 and up 4. So on my table, x is -3 and y is 4. This point right here is over 0 and up 2. So on my table, that's 0, 2. Okay, try to see what this one is then. Can you see it? Right there. That's over 3 and up 0. And then try to do this one also, this guy right here. That's over 6 and down 2, so 6, -2. Okay, so nice. I've already got a graph and a table. I just need the other two. So you might say, okay, let me try to figure out the pattern. Maybe I'm multiplying by 2. Maybe I'm subtracting 5. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Look, don't do that. I mean, if it's super obvious, then go ahead and just try to guess your way to it. But the way a mathematician would do it, because here's the method that works every time, is look, do you have a line? You do, right? So your algebraic rule will always have the same form. Your algebraic rule will always look like y equals mx plus b. And guess what your m is? Remember, m is for mountains, and mountains have... These glasses are bugging me. Why is that thing hanging back there? Jeepers, I never realized that. M is for mountains, and mountains have slope. And the b is the y-intercept. You get those two numbers figured out, and you are good. You'll have the rule. And the nice thing is this. Do you already know how to find slope? Yeah, totally. So I'll do it here, but you could probably, most of you, just do it on your own. We only need 2 points for slope. Well, we got 4 of them, so just pick 2 that are easy. I usually go with the ones that have zeros in them because it makes my math easier. So I'm just going to call this x1 and y1. Call this x2 and y2. Like I said, you could have picked any of these points. I just picked the easy ones. You should stop this video right now and see if you can get the slope on your own. And then I will do it up here. So slope is y2 minus y1, so 0 minus 2. And then x2 minus x1, so 3 minus 0. So that is -2 thirds. If you want it as a decimal, I happen to know this one, but you could do it on your calculator too. It's -0.6 repeating, so I'll just leave it like that. And so, would you have guessed? That's the thing, you guys. If you just had to do this on your own, how long would it have taken you? How many days would it have taken you to figure out that you're multiplying the x by -2 thirds, right? Like, no way. But if you can use mx plus b, then you can get any pattern, as long as it's a line. Good. So we got that number. We know that so far we've got y equals negative. I'm just going to use the fraction here, but you can use the decimal if you want. And then we still don't know the b, right? But the b is, oh, wait, can you see that? Yeah, you can, okay. But the b is just the y-intercept. So the y-intercept, let's just go, well, you can get it from, like I can just tell looking at this table what it is. Maybe some of you can also. But you can definitely see it from the graph because it's right where the line crosses the y-axis. Intercept, when you say y-intercept, intercept is a fancy word for crossing. So where does this line cross the y-axis? Well, right here. And guess what that is? 1, 2. 2. So it turns out my final rule is y equals negative 2/3 x plus 2. So this is my table. Bam. Here's my algebraic rule. Bam. The only thing left now is the verbal. But once I have the rule, for me, like the verbal is never that big of a deal. It's just to get y, multiply x by negative 2/3, then add 2. Oops, that's add, sorry. Shazam, done. So definitely email me if you have questions. Remember to lay out your work horizontally so that you have, like, if you start with a graph, then like make a table here, and then make a, I don't know, a rule here, and then a verbal here. That will keep your work nice and organized on that homework, okay? Take it easy.